a moon?
Sorry?
Like the moon? What is the Hebrew word? No one really.
For what?
For gym.
Sachik, to play.
Oh.
Yeah, but the word for exercising is lahazia, to make yourself perspire. Yeah. But gymnasia, in Russian to have gymnasia, but in Russia it means something else.
Yeah.
Okay, morning everybody. Okay, who hasn't been here yet? Everyone's been here before? Okay, so here's what's happening for those who were just here for the last couple of weeks. We finished the Shem Yichud. Took a very long time. I was happy with it. So I made the decision. I'm a one-man show, I do whatever I want. To go back to Sichos. This is officially a Sichos / Siddur class. I'm really supposed to give you one period a week of each. I end up giving you one semester of each. So we started the year with Sichos. We finished whatever topic we were doing, and we went on to Siddur. I really thought the Shem Yichud was going to be a week or two or three, and we're going to go straight on to Baruch Shama, but it took so long. It took a very long time. So I made the decision to leave Baruch Shama for either the end of this year or the beginning of next year, and to go back to Chumash, go back to the Sichos. Okay, so I'm going to give you the same copies I gave you last time and last year for those who've been around. If you have this, you don't need it. If you want to take another Gesundheit Hate, I made enough copies for everybody. Okay, if you have this, you don't take it again. If you don't have it, please take one. Distribute, yes, same thing at the beginning of the year.
Can we get an extra rabbit story for a good spot?
You got a whole bunch of them, Shabbos.
Never have too many.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Oh, they didn't come out good. All the copies came out like this? Oh, this is not good. This is not good. Yeah, but it's not worth it. The copies came, look at the copies. They all came out cut off on the bottom. I don't know how I don't know what she did. I sent her the PDF. How many times you mess with PDF? Okay, I need your attention, please. Bitte, bitte. In Yiddish and in German. My wife has a friend that lives in Germany, and she brought some people here. I said, I don't speak Jewish, just say only Yiddish words. So I tried very, very hard, and I haven't spoken Yiddish as a child. I spoke Yiddish. There was a time in my life that Yiddish was almost like a first language to me. And I did pretty good. I came up with all these big fancy words. So yeah, you knew so much German. but they had to help me from time to time. Okay, Rabbi said, can I have your attention, please? I'm saying this primarily for the people who are new, so because I want to explain to you what we do here, okay? I come in once a week to Machon Khan, I teach Siddur and Sichos. But I do whatever I want. Thank God Rabbi Paltiel leaves me alone. Which I don't know if it's good or bad, but that's, for me, it's good. So we started from the beginning of the Siddur, I don't know, 13 years ago, from Moidani. And we went till Baruch Shamar. All the classes are up online. It's hundreds of classes on Siddur. It's one of the obsessions of my life. And you're welcome to check me out. They're all there. You can take them and listen to them, no charge. And then we do Sichos. So I've been doing Sichos for 30 years. I started out, mamish, as a young boychik. In 1991, I was teaching Sichos in Mechon Chana. I'm not going to ask you how old you were in 1991. But I've been teaching Sichos a very long time. I used to teach, I can't do this. You're translating? So I can't do this. I'm sorry, you got the wrong teacher. I don't tolerate this. I taught many different things in the Sichos over the years. I have a whole bunch of different things that I tried to do in Machon Chana. And I decided to do the story of the Chumash. That's what we're doing. And recently, my supporting cast at Itzhak Hasidus made a special podcast where every week they give out another, I don't know how the podcast works. We have hundreds of, many classes on learning the Rebbe Sichos from the beginning, telling the story of the Chumash through the lens of the Sichos. Now, I made the mistake of starting with Lech Lecha. I should have started with Bereishis, and maybe when I'm finished, when I'm old and without teeth and I can't hear so good, I'll go back to Bereishis and do Bereishis and Noach. But I started with Lech Lecha. I'm holding Yisrael. So if you'll visit my website, which of course I'm begging you to do, if you haven't noticed, there is a Sichos section. I mean, you go open the Sichos section, there's a subsection of Sichos with themes. You have the theme section, it's the story of the Torah. I forgot what I call it. I can tell you what it is exactly. I go through the story of the Chumash in order. That's what we do. Okay? And if you go to my website, come on, let's go, work fast. In the Sichos section, there's something called themed Sichos, and our history through Sichos it's called. So our history through Sichos has subsections. The first is called the Avos, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, which is Lech Lecha, Vayera, Chayisara, Toldos, Vayetze, Vayishlach. Then you have Yosef and his brothers. That's the second section of his brothers. That's Vayeshev, Vayetze, Vayish, Vayechi. Then you have from exile to redemption, boys, Va'era, boy, I guess parts of Bishalach, okay? And then the fourth section is called, you're not free until you serve God. You become free in being a servant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is when Yidden left Mitzrayim. Meaning to say, when you learn the Chumash, I mean, the essence of what we do in our Sichos class is the following. The Torah is a history book. But it's not a history book because it's very incomplete. It's very partial, right? Torah is the history book of the purpose of the world. It doesn't tell the story of the world. It tells the story of the purpose of the world. Now, the story of the purpose of the world may involve one person, like Avraham and Sarah. But they are the fathers. They are the seed from which radiates belief in one God and being moral, not killing, not stealing, not worshiping idols, not committing adultery, and then, of course, being kind. The Eibush is winning. It's a messy situation, but the Eibush is winning. I mean, there are billions of Goyim who value charity and kindness. That's Avraham's success. That's not evolution. That's the Torah winning. But till Mashiach comes, it's like a messy situation. But the Torah is the story of the purpose of the world. And when you look at the world, you put on the right side of glasses, you can see in a lot of places, not only among Jewish people, the influence of the Eibishter, of the Bible, of Avraham Avinu. So the Chumash tells us a story from the beginning, not of what happened in the world on earth, but what events that happened in the world are contributing to the end game of the Creator. Hashem has a reason He made us, and it has to do with us, with human beings specifically. And of course, Yidden even more particularly, but all of mankind who were given free will. And the Torah tells the story of what's going on in the world that relates to that purpose. And that's the essence of the Chumash, the way we're learning it. Somebody else may have a different version. This is how we're learning the Chumash, and this is how the Rebbe explains the Torah, that every story in the Torah is not an event. Every story in the Torah is a stage setter for the realization of the divine purpose. That's the story, okay? So now, in a basic way, in a big way, I'm going to, because I've done this introduction many, many times already. In a big way, the purpose of the world has to do with a people called the Jewish people. This people, the Jewish people, are meant to be a light unto the nations. The Jewish people are supposed to teach all of mankind Hashem's teachings. That's the way the Abishah set it up. To use an American cliche and to be offensive, the Abishah did not believe in parity. He did not believe in fairness. He didn't make everybody the same. He didn't. There's Jews and there's non-Jews. That's the way he wants it. And one group of people are his so-called chosen people, and they have special merits, but special obligation. They have to do more mitzvahs. They have to teach the world what Hashem wants. And Mashiach means that we did it. That's what it means. Mashiach means that we completed this mission of teaching the world, and the world lives where the Eibishter wants us to live. So the Eibishter wants a nation. But the creation of this nation has two big steps. The first step is finding one perfect couple, one perfect pair that are going to be the parents of this nation. And that perfect pair is Avraham Avinu and Sarah Imenu, and then later becomes Yitzchak and Rivka and Yaakov and Leah and Rachel. They are individual people, one person. The Torah spends so much time talking about one person because this one person, this couple, speaks to the entire purpose of the creation. The entire purpose of all of creation and all of history begins with the selection of Abraham and Sarah to be the parents of the Jewish people. So there's an irony here. On the one hand, the beginning of the Jewish nation is one perfect tzaddik. On the other hand, the very definition of the Jewish people is a mess. Some are very righteous, some are very pain in the necky, and some of them in the middle. Right? The Jewish people are called a tzibur. Tzibur is the Hebrew word for community. Tzibur is an acronym, is an Rashi Tevis, tzadikim, beinanim, u'reshoyim. Righteous, average, and believe. So there's an irony to the development of this people that the Eibishter is birthing in the Chumash, to whom he's going to give his Torah and empower them to teach the whole world what the Eibishter wants the world to know, until the whole world will actually do it. And the irony is that on the one hand, it begins with one very perfect person, and on the other hand, it comes down to a people that are very average, like anybody else. Am B'nai Yisrael, the nation of Israel, the Jewish people, the sons of Israel, and the sons and daughters of Israel. So Bereshis talks to us primarily about the birthing of the fathers, and then the 12 shvatim. The beginning of Shema, Genesis talks about how you transition from one tzaddik to a family, to a whole nation, right? This week is Pashas Boy. So we're leaving Mitzrayim this week, right? So we went into Golus, we suffered for a very long time, suffered terribly for a very, very long time, and now we're emerging from Mitzrayim, we're becoming a nation, we're being born. For some reason, in order for this transition to take place, from the one holy, holy, holy tzaddik to the collective body of Jewish people, which is called the Tzibur, we had to go to Golus, we had to go to Mitzrayim. So Bereshis is the story of the Avos, the story of the Shvatim, and the beginning of Shmos is the story of the birth of the nation. The Jewish people as a nation, that there's millions of us, and some of us are very righteous, and some of us are average, and some of us are very evil, very below average. Let's not use evil, yeah? Below average. The birth of that phenomena, that the worst Jew is Jewish, and as the Midrashim say, if the worst Jew doesn't stand by Har Sin, Hashem doesn't give the Torah. All of us are showing up except for one bad guy. The Eibush needs all of us, including the ones that we don't think are so good. The Eibush has different perspective, a different perception, and the whole Jewish nation, including the Rishayim, are a part of the Jewish people. This is the beginning of Sefer Shmos. But the book of Exodus, Sefer Shmos, has three big discussions. Number one, the birth of the Jewish people, Golus and Gula, the birth of the Jewish people. Number two, the giving of the Torah. That Hashem took us out of Egypt and made us his slaves. That's what he did. He took us out of Mitzrayim and he took possession of, he made us his slaves. But the Mishnah says, and I believe the Mishnah from personal experience, that when we become slaves of Hashem, we actually become free. Like the Chazal say, when you're a slave of a king, you're a king. Eved Melech Melech. In serving Hashem, we become free. And that's the story of the Torah. The story of the Torah. And it dominates the middle of Vayikra. The middle of Shmos, the middle of the book of Exodus deals with the Torah. So it's Yisrael, and it's Mishpatim, and it's Kisisa, really. Parts of Kisisa. All these three parshas deal with the story of Matan Torah and the aftermath of Matan Torah. The aftermath of Matan Torah is the golden calf and that whole mess. But that's the middle of Sefer Shmos. The middle of Sefer Shmos is the story of Hashem, the covenant, let's call it. Hashem marrying us. He took us out of Egypt. We become one with him. He becomes one with us through the gift of the Torah, which is what we're currently learning. And I labeled that in my syllabus, on my website, I called it, you're not free until you're a servant of Hashem. You become free by becoming Hashem's slave. When you accept Hashem's instruction and you choose to exercise free will to live what Abisha says, in that service, you're free. In that service, you're free. In that service, you're free. Okay? Now, what's going to be the end of Sefer Shmos, the last part of Sefer Shmos? You have to make Hashem a home. It's not enough to serve him, you have to make him a house. And that house is not just a tiny little house that sits on top of a mountain in central Eretz Yisrael, in Yerushalayim, Haramaniya. It's the whole world. And that's Truma, Tetzaveh, parts of Kisisa, Vayakal, and Pekudei, 4 parshas plus that talk about building the Mishkan. And this story is told in so much detail, so much repetitive detail, because it's not just the story of a temporary building that was used for 40 years or for 54 years and then was replaced by a stone structure, whatever the case is. It's the story of the purpose of the world. Sefer Shmos has 3 messages. For the Eibishter's purpose in the world to be fulfilled, he needs a nation, number 2. That nation needs a Torah, that's number 2. And the end of that Torah is to make this world his home. That's Sefer Shmos. So I haven't yet chosen how I'm going to label the 3rd part of Sefer Shmos, but it's going to be something like that, The end of being a servant of Hashem is inviting him into your home. Not just into the Beis HaMikdash, into my home. Right? We're going to Yud Shvat this week. The story of Yud Shvat is also the Mikdash, if you don't mind, but also the Mikdash is Shechanti B'Soicha, you make a Beis HaMikdash, and Hashem lives in it. And of course, the Rebbe brings in the Maimed, but they call Echad Ve'echad Yisrael. Hashem doesn't live just in the shul. Hashem doesn't live every single one of us. That's the end game. So this Rabbi Isai is what's been going on now. I would say 13 or 14 years. We've been learning this for a very long time. We started with Lach Lecha. It's a lot. We did a lot of stuff over there. We did an enormous amount of material, and we're holding Yisrael. We did the Avis. We did the Patriarchs, the Matriarchs. We did Yosef and his brothers. We did from Exile to Redemption. We're in the middle of what I'm calling the 4th subset of material on this whole syllabus, which is you're not free until you're a servant of God. That's the theme, which means Hashem gives us the Torah, we accept the Torah, we practice the Torah, and that makes us the Jewish people. That makes us free. That makes us greater. That frees us. It opens us up. It gives us more power. This is what we're in the middle of doing. But we're going in order. And we're taking our merry time, right? I don't know if it's merry or time, but we're certainly doing merry and time. We go very slowly. Okay? And what we're doing is this. The Jews left Egypt. They came to Har Sinai. We did all of this. Everything that I'm saying has classes and classes and classes. If you go to the site, you can see them all. We come to Har Sinai, and we're getting ready to get the Torah. We're getting ready to get the Torah. In getting ready to get the Torah, every day something else happened, okay? We arrived at Har Sinai on a Monday. We got the Torah on Shabbos. So far, we did Monday, we did Tuesday, we did Wednesday. Now we're doing Thursday. The immediate discussion that we're going to be having over the foreseeable period of time, the next few weeks, and I don't know how long it's going to take because I haven't yet decided how much I want to teach on this, is Thursday. Monday was the first of Sivan. We came to Har Sinai. So the Gemara says Hashem told them nothing. Hashem told them nothing. And the Rebbe explains Hashem told them nothing because Hashem wants them not to argue. So they should become one with one man, with one heart, as Rashi brings from the Mechilta, as we all know. Tuesday, the 2nd of Sivan, we became the chosen people. Hashem gave us the contract. The contract involved what he wants from us. We have to learn the Torah, we have to keep the mitzvahs, and what he's offering us. He said, Segula, you're going to be my precious treasure. Mamlechas Koyanim, a kingdom of priests, the Goy, Kodesh, and holy nation. He's offering us 3 gifts. I want from you to learn the Torah, do the mitzvahs, and I'm offering you that you're going to be my precious treasure, a kingdom, Mamlechas Koyanim, a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. This happened on Tuesday, the 2nd day of Sivan, which is called in the history of the Jewish people. You look in the calendar, you'll see it. Yom HaMeyuchas, the day we got our yichas, the day we got our identity, the identity of the Jewish people as the chosen nation, as the people of God, happened on Tuesday, the 2nd day of Sivan. We had this. The Eibishter told us what he wants. He told us what he's offering, and we agreed. Sure. So on Tuesday, the 3rd of Sivan, Moshe Rabbeinu went up the mountain, he came back down the mountain, and he told the Jewish people what Hashem wants and what Hashem is offering. And the Jews said, okay, we're in. Then comes Wednesday. And we did Wednesday in the end of last school year, in the beginning of this school. If you've been here since the beginning of the year, our year opened with Wednesday. Wednesday is the 3rd of Sivan. And something very interesting happens. Very interesting. Moshe had a rule for some reason that he only went up in the mountain at dawn, very early in the morning. According to Rashi, once a day. He never went up twice a day. The Ramban has a different opinion about this, I'm almost positive. Rashi holds Moshe went up once a day, early in the morning. When Moshe came down the mountain, if he had to go back again, he went till the next morning. So now it's Wednesday, it's the 3rd of Sivan. Moshe climbs up the mountain, and he tells God that the Jews agree. Yeah, we're in. We signed the contract. We'll make this deal. We'll be Shemaya Tishma Keli. We'll listen to Hashem's words and we'll do what he says. And we're going to get Segula, Malachas Kainim, 3 gifts. Segula, Kodesh. So this is now, it's Wednesday, the 3rd of Sivan. I said, good. That's very, very good. So he said, Moshe, here's what I want you to do. Go down the mountain and put a fence up. Put up a fence. You'll be inside the fence. And the Jewish people are going to be outside the fence. And tell the Jewish people the following. I'm going to come down on the mountain, and I'm going to talk only to you, only to you. The Jewish people are not going to hear what I'm saying. But they will somehow witness that I'm talking to you. And this will create the relationship between me and them. They're going to need the Navi, the prophet. Hashem says to Moshe, tell the Jewish people we're going to put up a fence, and the Yidden are going to be outside the fence. Moshe Rabbeinu is going to be inside the fence. Hashem says to Moshe, I'm going to talk only to you. The Jews are not going to hear what I'm saying. But they're going to witness that I'm talking to you, so they'll be beholden to you. So the Lashon HaPosek is V'gam b'cha ya'aminu la'olam, that they're going to have to believe the prophet because they're not going to hear the words of Hashem directly. This is what the Eibishter proposes. Hashem proposes to Moshe that Hashem is going to speak only to Moshe, only to the prophet, and the Jews are not going to hear what the Eibishter is saying, they're going to witness it. This is called in the Jewish tradition mitzvahs hagabola, the commandment to make a fence. Mitzvahs hagabola means Jews are on the outside, Moshe is on the inside. Moshe comes down the mountain and he tells the Jewish people what the Eibishter said. He says, Hashem said, he's talking only to me and you're going to watch. What the Jewish people say? No deal. We're not signing a contract for all of history through a lawyer. If the Eibishter wants to do business with us, he's going to talk to us directly. So on Wednesday, the 3rd of Sivan, the Jewish people turned down the Eibishter's offer. They told him no. They were Jews. They were haggling. They were negotiating. Hashem says to Moshe, I'm going to talk only to you. And the Jewish people are going to witness. And the Yidden said, no. If we're doing business, you can talk to us face to face. Now, let's talk about this. Why do you think the Eibishter did this? Why do you think the Eibishter's original plan was he's talking only to Moshe and the Jewish people are not going to be able to hear? It's a very simple reason. Because to be a prophet takes a lifetime. To be a Navi, you have to live a very pure life. You know what happens when Hashem talks to you? You don't just hear him, you see him. You ever see God? Anybody ever see God? Not evidence of God. God, of course, you can't see Hashem. But whatever seeing God means, it's overwhelming. Yidden were not ready for prophecy. They'd just been slaves. They were pagan. 3 months before, they were worshiping idols. So Hashem says to Moshe, my holy son Moshe, you're very holy, you're very pure, you're very special. I'll talk to you. You could be a Navi, I'll talk to you. The Jews are not ready for Nebuah. They can't handle it. They'll just watch. And the Yidden said no. The Yidden said, if Hashem is giving us the Torah, he's going to speak to us. So now it's Thursday, the 4th of Sivan, which is the topic that we're doing. Now, if you have this sheet, the pages got cut off. But if you'll turn the pages, the very bottom of the first page, you're actually missing it. 4th day, Thursday, 4th Sivan. You guys don't even have it. The pages got cut off. The bottoms of the page, all the copies got messed up. It's such a pity. I don't know how it happened. I sent her PDF. How'd it come out that way? Should we make more copies? I don't think I get very crazy about the paper around here. Should I risk asking for more copies or the house is going to burn to the ground? You want to try? You want to risk it?
Sure.
Okay. But you come back. You tell explain to what happened. Show her the original. Show her what it looks. It's Thursday, the 4th of Sivan. It's Thursday, the 4th of Sivan. Moshe goes back up the mountain. And he says to Hashem, the Jews are not happy with the terms. No lawyers. Lawyers discuss negotiation. Yeah, but when it comes to sign the contract, the two principals look each other in the eye, eyeball to eyeball. The Yidden are saying the Eibush is making a deal with us for the rest of history. He's going to have to talk to us directly. And Hashem says to Moshe, you're a smart guy. You know what's going to happen. If I show up in a room of Jews, I'm going to burn them up. They're not ready for this. And Moshe says, but they're right. They're right. They want to talk to you direct. Moshe thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Moshe thought it was such a great idea that every Yid wants to be a Navi. There's a pasuk in Chumash, in Bahaloischa, where Moshe says very excitedly, Mi yitein kol am Hashem neviim. I wish every Jew would be a prophet. Moshe wasn't worried about his power. He wasn't afraid that all Yidden become prophets, he becomes less powerful. He wasn't thinking about himself. However, so Moshe says, the Yidden want to speak to you directly. And Hashem says to Moshe, if I come down on that mountain and talk to all these people, they're going to go flying out of they're not ready for it. They're regular people. To be a prophet, you have to be so pure. You have to be so developed, so refined in every way. Not just your conscious, your subconscious, not just on the surface. The sewer has to be clean. The underneath, they're not ready for prophecy. And Moshe says, but they're right. They want to talk to you. And Hashem says, Moshe, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. And Moshe says, let's try. Now Moshe knows exactly what's going to happen. He knows exactly. But he doesn't care. You know why he doesn't care? Because the fact that Yidden want to be Nevi'im is to him the most delightful piece of news. Moshe was a Navi. And Moshe, the only thing he appreciated was a person who's involved with the Eibishter only. And when the Yidden said they want to become Nevi'im, Moshe said, I like this. So now it's Thursday, the 4th of Sivan. Hashem says, okay, They want to become prophets? 48 hours. 48 hours. Yidden were given 48 hours to do what a Navi does from the day he's born. 48 hours to become holy enough and pure enough to meet Hashem face to face, whatever you explain Nebuah as, to receive the Ruach HaKodesh. Nebuah, Hashem is going to talk about that. 48 hours. This, girls, is called mitzvahs prisha. The mitzvah of becoming holy. Prisha, prishos. Prisha, pei, reish, yud, shin, hey. Prisha, becoming pure and holy. Prishos, removing yourself from the world. So, Wednesday, the 3rd of Sivan, he gave the mitzvahs Hagbolah, right? The first idea was they're going to put fences, the Yidden are going to be outside, Moshe is going to be inside. And the Yidden turned it down. They want Hashem to come directly, they want to become the Nevi'im. And the Eibush says to Moshe, it's not going to work. They're not ready for it. Moshe said, let's try. Me eat and call on Hashem Nevi'im. Tell all the red Nevi'im. Let them all be prophets. Did I tell you my little story with the Rebbe? Tell you my story. The Rebbe gave me mashke when I was 3 years old. Now, I don't remember. My father told me. But I wondered, did I ever give mashke to all 3-year-olds? And I drank it and spit it out. And the Rebbe cracked up laughing. He thought it was the funniest thing. I don't remember this. But the Rebbe gave me mashke when I was 3 years old. And I asked, did the Rebbe give all 3-year-olds mashke? That's pretty crazy. I went for my haircut. The Rebbe gave me mashke. I drank it. And the Rebbe thought it was the funniest thing in the world. Now, the point is, Moshe says they want it, let them have it. Let them have it. They'll spit it out, but let them have it. They want it. It's a good thing. Why the Rebbe gave me mashke as a 3-year-old? I wondered, did the Rebbe give all 3-year-olds mashke? The Rebbe gave me mashke, alcohol. And he didn't tell me, this is bitter. He just gave it to me, and I downed it and spit it out. Gave mashke. But Moshe says to the Eibush that they want to become the Nevi'im. And Hashem said, it's going to plots. It's not going to work. And they did a lot more than spit it out. They died. And Moshe said, let's do it. He thought it was a good idea. Because Moshe loved Yidden and loved the Eibush. And for him, there could be no greater thing than the Yidden were intimate with the Eibush. So they have 48 hours, 2 days, to do what a Navi does in a lifetime. So what do you think happened? Hashem came down on a mountain, and he revealed to the Jewish people, and they died. Poof, they platzed, and the Neshama went flying. Once, and twice, and 3 times, and 10 times. They couldn't handle it. So after the Jews saw how bad an idea it was, they come running to Moshe Rabbeinu, and they say, remember plan A? You remember what the Eibush said first time around? Let's make fences. We'll be outside, you'll be inside. Enough. We met our counterpart. Now let's go back to the lawyers. We met him face to face. Now let's go back to the lawyers. And Moshe is so disappointed. Moshe said, what? So you died? So? But you became a Navi. That's his thinking. So you died? So you died. But you experienced Hashem directly. And this and no. Moshe is so disappointed. And he comes running back to the Eibush and says, the Jews are quitting on you. They want to go back to the plan A. And the Eibush says to Moshe Rabbeinu, Heitivu was Hashem, they're right. And the way we're choosing to translate the words, they're right both. They're right that originally Hashem had to speak to them directly. And they're right that afterwards Hashem is going to speak only to the Navi. Okay? So what we're starting today is day 4. It's Thursday, day 4 of preparing to get the Torah. The label of this day is Precious. Precious means become a prophet in 48 hours. That's what it is. Precious means how a person makes himself holy enough to receive Hashem directly. Experience Ein Sof, in case you need words. 48 hours, Precious. And it really didn't work out so good. Bamish didn't work out so good. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
What are the words there, right? Where is that?
It's in Dvarim. It's in Deuteronomy. You have your stack?
Yes.
You have a stack with all the words, or you have a stack missing words?
Missing words.
So I'm not sure you have it, but if you have it, it's the 3rd page from the end. It's the פסוק Dalet. You see it? Do you see it?
Second page from it?
The second page from the back, or second to the last page.
Okay.
In the bold type, Pasuk of Dalet. Do you have it? Yishma.
No, I only have top olive.
No. Higher up on the same page. In the bold.
I got it. Okay.
Vayishma Hashem es kel divreichem daberchem. Hashem heard what you told me. Vayemer Hashem Elai. Hashem said to me, Shamati es kel divrei ha'ama azash divrei. I heard what they told you. Heitivu kol hashem dibera. They're right. You see?
Yeah.
They're right. This isn't Deuteronomy. We have to repeating the same thing a second time. Pasuk of Dalet, yeah. Questions or comments? So let's break, okay? You have 5 minutes. Piat minut, okay? At 11:31, we and the art. We're going to continue, okay? I stop the class for 5 minutes. Yes, ma'am.
לעסוקי שמעת אליבא דהלכתא. זאת אומרת, אלה שעוסקים בתורה רק לשם ההלכה?
Just 1 second. תגידי עוד פעם.
לעסוקי שמעת אליבא דהלכתא.
נו.
זאת אומרת, לאלה שעסוקים רק בפן של ההלכה?
עסוק זאת אומרת לקבוע. עסוקי זה באלף, לא בעין. זה מילה בארמית, לא בעברית. אין הפירוש של עסוקי מלשון עסק. עין סמך קוף. זה אלף סמך קוף. זה מילה ארמית שפירושו לקבוע. את התורה על פי ההלכה. זאת אומרת, יש כמה דעות, ויש דעה אחת שנגיע למעשה, לעסוקי שמייטס הלימוד, זאת אומרת, לקבוע את הלימוד על פי ההלכה. How we doing? Did they get upset about the paper and the ink?
No, but
What did she say?
she said she didn't even look at it, sorry, but basically it was just for the first 3 pages. Is that enough for today? I just copied the first 3 pages.
Let's find out.
Like, is that how far you're gonna get? Or you
Yeah, this is good.
Okay.
What am I stapling?
I can get one from another classroom.
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
Yeah.
שקלה וטריה שבתורה, מה זה אומר?
שקלותיי. התרגום המילולי של המילים אלו הוא שקלה לקחת, טריה לתת. לתת ולשאת. לתת למד תוף תוף ולשאת למד שין א' תוף. לקחת ולתת. דרך הלימוד זה פלפול. כאילו מת ועובר במנועל.
אלה שמתעסקים בגמרא.
בהפלפול, בדיון, לדבר עם השני. שקלה וטריה פירושו לקחת ולתת. זאת אומרת, מדברים אחד עם השני לקבוע הלכה.
אז למה זה תענוג וחיות?
What one?
למה זה תענוג וחיות בלימוד התורה?
Oh, okay. Let's see what the situation. Okay, so I'm going to collate, you'll stay.
Okay.
למה? לא התעסקת בזה אף פעם בחייך. זה תענוג עצום לדבר בלימוד התורה. בכלל, את בגיל שעוסקים בפילוסופיה, ברעיונות. אז יש תענוג מיוחד לדבר עם חברות באותו עניין, נכון או לא?
כן.
זהו שקלה וטריה.
כן, אבל הוא מדבר כאן על...
לימוד התורה, לימוד התורה. התענוג של הבנת התורה. No problem. Okay, so I don't understand how she downloaded it wrong. Anyway, it is what it is. Mrs. Yaffe is not here to say to us, we're wasting the Chacham's paper. I can donate some paper, that's what it comes down to. Okay, you are. Okay, we ready to start? Nobody even moved. It's like I might have been sure you know that I announced a break.
Some girls from Argentina wanted to join our class.
Say again.
Some girls from Argentina wanted to join our class. It's okay
Why not?
if they will join our class in the middle.
Yeah, if they have to understand.
I think they wanted to have like this Tefillah class. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not doing Tefillah, no.
Well, and they came last week or the 6 weeks before. They were down to Tefillah. They were outside, but now they're not, so I don't know if they're gonna come in.
Oh, yeah, well.
Why would the copy machine do this? This is anti-Semitism.
Can't answer for that.
Everything is anti-Semitism. When I stop my foot, it's anti-Semitism. The guy who put the wall in made it an anti-Semit. Everything is anti-Semitism. Shall we? Ready to start, people, yeah? Yeah, nobody moved, but yeah, okay, we're moving on.
We're so excited for the next
In other words, when am I gonna start saying something instead of repeating myself? I got the picture, you're right. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Who needs a new one?
Yeah, you need new sheets, because the ones you have are cut off at the bottom.
Okay, I will take the last one and put it in the Nidana. So, copy them. Your subbook.
Yeah, that's one, mine's old, okay.
I wrote on it.
Wait, I want.
You need a new one also, Here's the old one, tuck that.
Like the only thing that we're missing is the. No, I think it's more of a.
Bevakasha. You mind passing it around? Here's more of those.
No, it's fine, but. Yeah.
Okay, here we go, ready? Okay, here we go. I'm starting at the top of the page, first page, okay? But this is Monday. It says on the top of the page, first day, Monday 1 Sivan 2448, okay? In the third month, on Rosh Chodesh. The Tev B'nai Yisrael Eretzam, after the Jewish people left Egypt, on this day, and the Gemara says this day means Rosh Chodesh. Bo Midbar Sinai, they came to the mountain of Sinai. Vayisam Refidim, they traveled from a place called Refidim. Vayavoyu Midbar Sinai, they came to Refidim. Vayachanu Midbar, they rested in the desert. And then it says, Vayichan Sham Yisrael Neged Har. The Jew in singular rested adjacent to the mountain, and we all know that that day, Monday, the 1st of Sivan, was dedicated to Achdus Yisrael. Ish Echad B'Leiv Echad. There's one man with one heart. That's what happened on that Monday. Okay? Second day, Tuesday, the 2nd of Sivan, 2448. Umoisha Allah Halalukim. The next morning, which is Tuesday morning, early, Yimich comes the mountain. Hashem calls the Minha hard from the top of the mountain. Leimeh. Somebody translate Leimeh. Leimeh. To repeat. Ibet is not saying, it's not poetry. To repeat. I'm going to tell you something, go back and tell it. And the Rebbe has a sikha where the Rebbe says, this repeat word for word. The Torah teach them until they understand. This repeat verbatim, word for word. This is what you should say to the daughters of Israel. You should speak to the sons of Israel the following message. After the Isam, you saw the miracles that I performed. Asher asisi l'mitzvah to Egypt. Now, gross. If you were at my Shabbos table last week, some of you were at my Shabbos table, so I mentioned miracles. In the Chumash, there's miracles. In Pashas Ve'eda, there's 7 makkos. In Pashas Boy, there's 3 makkos. There's miracles. These miracles are nice stories. They're wonderful when you're 6 and 7. They're like very exciting, you know. But when you're like 16 and 17, and for sure like 26, 27, it's like a very long time ago. How does it help me that 3,300 years ago Hashem did miracles? And the answer is miracles always happen. You have to just notice them. Miracles are one of Hashem's tricks. Hashem has this bag full of tricks, as they say in English, in whatever culture it is. One of the Eibishter's ways of getting our attention is performing miracles. You see, I'm here. Now, but the miracle is only appetizer. The miracle is a hello. Hashem shows us a miracle, gets our attention, says, hello! Yeah, now listen to me. You saw, what I did to Egypt, and I carried you on the wings of eagles. I brought it to me, I got your attention. I took a nation, I took a goy out of a goy, I took a nation out of a nation, and I birthed the Jewish people, and here's why. If you will listen to my words, or the Chassidus says, if you will listen to inside my words, bikkarli, inside my words, ushmartem es b'risei, and you will guard my covenant, means you'll keep mitzvahs. I'm giving you 3 gifts in return. Number 1, v'yisam li segula, you're going to become my favorite, my chosen one, my treasure. Mikol ha'am, of all the nations of the world, and I can pull that off. I can make you my favorite. You know why? I own the whole earth. The whole globus is mine, and if I make you favorite, it's going to be that way. In addition to you being my favorite nation in the whole world, v'atam, you will also be, are going to be lead to me, mamlechas kayanim, a kingdom of priests, which the Rebbe translates, a kingdom of Hashem's servants, b'gei kadosh and holy people. And then Hashem says, Eila advarim, these words exactly, asher tadaber b'nei Yisrael, you should speak to the Jewish people. And Hashem says to Moshe, normally when you teach Torah, you have to explain it in your own words. This, say it just the way I told it to you. Just repeat my words. The covenant, the terms, the terminen, that's German also for you, the terms of the relationship, say verbatim, say them exactly. So Vayomer Moshe comes down the mountain. It's now Tuesday afternoon, or whatever time it took. Vayikol ziknei ha'am, he calls the elders. Vayasam lefneim, it's called Dvarim Eil. He tells them what Hashem said. Asher tevo Hashem. He tells them, listen, Hashem wants to do business with us. You have to understand, what's the hardest part of this deal? What is the hardest part of the Jewish people's deal? Anybody know? What is the hardest part of the Jewish people's deal? What is the hardest part of the Jewish people's deal? You commit yourself and your children and your grandchildren till the end of time. It's harder to get out of this bargain with the Eibishter than it is to get out of the mafia, as I told you the story. It's in and it's it. There's no way out. See, so I think about this long and hard. Appreciate what's happened. I'm offering you something. And my offer stands forever, because the Eibishter doesn't have, there's no son of the God. There's one God. Finish. He's forever. We have children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and we committed our descendants till today, till 2024 in the United States of America, which is in the southern, the western hemisphere. We were committed to keeping Shabbos kosher, which was fulfilled by Isaiah 3,300 and almost 50 years ago. So think about it, Hashem. Think about it. This is what I'm offering, and this is what I want. So Moshe gathers the elders and said, okay, what do you think? What do you think? The whole nation responds together. Now, he called the elders, and somehow everybody else sort of came along. Call the right? He called the elders, and everybody showed up. And they said, "Pay Hashem, whatever the Eibishter says, we're in. We'll do it." Like my son says, "Ani ba'ad." In Israel, "Ani ba'ad." I'm in favor. I'm in favor. I'm in favor. So once the contract is signed, so now you have to get the book, right? So it's Wednesday, the 3rd of Sivan. Look inside, third day, Wednesday, 3 Sivan, 24:48. Vayashav Moshe as Divri Amal Hashem. Moshe goes up the mountain. It's Wednesday morning early. He says the Jews are in. They're in. They're in. They're in. You ever heard the story from Rabbi Shlomo Riskin? Shlomo Riskin was in the Rebbe's room. And the Rebbe asked him if he was prepared to go to Russia and open up Ulpanim. Ulpanim teach Hebrew. Rabbi Shlomo Riskin from Efrat, Lincoln Square Synagogue, the Rebbe, he was close to the Rebbe. Interesting. To open up in Russia, not houses of Torah, Hebrew language. And when I was in Russia many years later, a lot of Russians who were not from knew about Ulpan. The Rebbe started the idea in the mid-70s. I was in Russia in 87 and 88. Ulpan, Hebrew. So Rabbi Riskin was in the Rebbe's room. And the Rebbe offers him the idea, would he go to Russia and make Ulpanim? And he agreed. In the middle of Yechidus, he picks up the phone and calls one of the highest ranking officers of the Shin Bet in Israel, who was involved with the Soviet Union, and says, "Hu maskim." He agreed. Like Shlomo Riskin, like an important guy. And the Rebbe was fighting with Israel about Mihu Yehudi. He was fighting with Israel about the protest of Russian Jews. But one had nothing to do with the next. It was like he was in a, what do they call it? A James Bond movie. That's how he describes it. He's in the Rebbe's room. And the Rebbe says to him, what do you think? Are you prepared to go to Russia and teach Hebrew? He says, yeah, they picked up the phone. He agrees. Like in the middle of a conversation. Who must give? So the Moshe says, hey, maskim in. They agree. So Vayayimen Hashem Moshe, Hashem says weiter. And this girl is from the beginning of this school year. I'm coming to you alone. Ba'ava on in a thick cloud. So the people are going to see that I'm talking only to you. They're not going to hear my words. They're not going to experience prophecy. They're going to see enough. If you were here at the beginning of this year, you know the big issue is called witness. We witnessed the emes of Nevuah. That was the dominator at the beginning of this year, Eidos. So he says, I'm going to talk to you. I'm not going to talk to them because I don't want to kill them. They're not prophets. They're zlobs. They're very, very good for ice cream and for vacation and for sitting on a lounge chair. Prophecy, not for them. So I'm going to talk to you, but I'm going to let them see. They're going to be witnesses. And he adds another bonus. If Moshe had agreed to plan A, he would always be beholden to the prophets. Why? Because they got the Torah, we didn't. What do we know? And we said, no, we want it personally. And the Jewish people say, no deal. If God is making business with us, he's going to have to speak to us directly. So turn the page. This is where we're holding. Now we're holding, listen, look at the last line. Fourth day, Thursday, 4-7, $248. It's Thursday morning. Moshe goes up the mountain and he tells the Avishit that the Jews don't agree. Not like Rabbi Riskin told them about today, but no, lo maskimin. Vayaged Moshe divrei ha'om al Hashem. Moshe says to Hashem, the Jews do not agree. Do you know the cliche? You know the quote? You know the quote? Someone made a song out of it. We want to see the king. This is where this quote is from. If the Abish is giving us the Torah, we're making a commitment until the end of time to be his servants, he's going to have to speak to us face to face. So Moshe comes back and he reports it. It was a crazy idea. It was a nutty idea. The Abish thought it was a bad idea. The Jews didn't know what they were in for. But Moshe didn't care. It's worth it. Become a prophet. That was his thinking. Moshe knew who the Yid were. And Moshe knew who he was. Moshe knew what it takes to be a Navi. A Navi doesn't mean Hashem talks to you. A Navi means Hashem meets you face to face. You experience him. They were not ready for that. But Moshe was delighted. Don't ruin it with the facts. Don't ruin it with the details. Like I said, Moshe is thinking, I wish every Jew was a prophet. So then it says, Pasuk Yud, Hashem says to Moshe, and of course now I'm going to ad lib, I'm going to make up words which are not written here. Hashem says to Moshe, you sure, Moshe? Moshe says, what a great idea. They want to be Nevi'im. And Hashem says, Moshe, but you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. So don't worry about it. We'll fix it later. The Nevi'im, intermittently, in the middle, they'll become Nevi'im. Isn't that worth it? And Hashem says, Moshe, you sure? Moshe, listen, I talked to them. I talked it over. They refused to sign the contract. They want to meet you face to face. Moshe thinks it's a great idea. The Abish knows it's a terrible idea. The Yidden don't know what they're in for. Hashem says, okay, let's do a crash course in Nevuah prep. That's what this is. It's a crash course in Nevuah prep, and it's called the Hebrew Prishus. Perishut. The word precious appears in Chazal a lot. Even Pirkei Avos, Nedorim Syag La Precious. There's a category of Jew which is called a Parosh. A Parosh means someone who's different than everybody else. He separates himself. He lives a life of holiness. He deprives himself of material pleasures. His whole world is godliness. His whole world is Torah and purity and refinement of character. And in some cases also punishing the body, fasting, and these kinds of things. There is a category of Jew called the Parosh. But it's an elite group. It's a very small group of people. The nation has garbage collectors, regular people. And every Yid says, I want to meet the Abish face to face. Hashem says they have 48 hours to halify themselves the way you did in 80 years. I'll do it. I'll meet him. I'll meet him face to face. I'll do it. I'll show up for the occasion. But they need to prepare. Here's the preparation. Hashem says to Moshe, go back to the people. Vikidashta, make them holy. 2 days. 2 days. Thursday and Friday. That's all you got. They should wash their clothes, which basically means you go to mikveh. But you must understand, you go to the mikveh, how pure do you become, huh? What is the mikveh there? So you can eat truma, you can meet Hashem. You have to, you know what the Gemara says? The Gemara says, Iked Tvilusa Menura. You speak Aramaic. Real mikveh is fire. When the person passes away, there's a nahadinur, there's a river of fire. You title a river of fire, yeah. You ready to tell the river of fire? No, it's not a river of fire. You tell the river of fire, you're not coming out. So we use water instead. And Hashem says to Moshe, really? You're going to do this? Yeah, let's go. It's a great idea. So they should wash their clothes, they should take the mikveh. 48 hours, they have to separate themselves from materialism, from physical pleasures, and they have to focus. They have to cleanse their mind, they have to cleanse their bodies, they have to cleanse their soul. Get ready to experience Hashem, punim el punim, face to face, like prophets do. And they should be prepared for the third day. Because on that third day, Hashem is going to come down, and all the people are going to see him. They're going to become Nevi'im. They're not just going to be witnesses to Nevuah, like the Amish said yesterday. They're going to become Nevi'im al Har Sinai, on the mountain of Sinai. Now, Kindelach, notice the anomaly. Hashem went from talking about himself in first person to talking about himself in third person in one text. He starts off by saying, "Vayomer Hashem el Moshe." Hashem is, and now he says, Hashem calls Moshe, go tell the Jewish people. He says, because God, he doesn't say I. He says, because God is coming down on the mountain. You have a lot in the Torah, and of course the Rishonim always pounce on these kinds of changes of form. Hashem is talking to Moshe, saying I and you, and all of a sudden it's Havaya, third person. There's explanations for this, but it's just a detail to notice. Come here, Moshe. I want to tell you what to tell him. I want you to tell him they should prepare, because in the third day, he doesn't say I, he says Hashem. He changes from I to Hashem in the same sentence. Eat your heart out. I'm just pointing it out. And then he says, you still need fences. You still need fences. You still need fences. But the different kind of fences than the fences I spoke to you about on Tuesday. On Tuesday, the fences were the Jews on the outside, and only you are on the inside. Mm-hmm. Now, the Jews are also on the inside. But there's levels of inside. There's levels of inside. They're going to be prophets. I'm going to talk to them directly. But there's levels of how much I reveal and how much I talk, how much I give. And you need to be outside of a fence. But this is a very, very, very different fence than the fence which is called Mitzvah Sagabala, which was discussed on Wednesday, the 3rd of Sivan. This fence is saying, I'm going to speak to you directly. You're going to visit me, you can experience me. But still, even in Nevuah, there's levels. Even in being a prophet, there's levels. And the prophecy that they're going to have allows them to get this close, but not closer. Follow? So read it. Good.
When you say face to face, like, do you mean like literally as in like just seeing the highest revelation of Hashem? Or there's like even Moshe, like, doesn't it say that even Moshe didn't see his face?
By Moshe Rabbeinu, it says ponim el ponim. Diba Moshe ponim el ponim. Ponim el ponim. Ponim bit ponim. There's a lot of discussions. I'm using the word face to face because I want to denote intimacy. You're not just getting a message from him, you're experiencing him. You're experiencing him. You're experiencing the Eibishter. So I'm using the word face to face, even though I know that it's not the right word. Only Moshe was echet to face, and even that has to be explained. But I'm using the words to denote that Hashem, they're going to become Nevi'im. They're going to become prophets. Okay, keep going. I'll do your base again. Make a fence around the people and tell them. Lemer means what? Repeat. I'm warning you. Don't go up the mountain. You're going to experience prophecy. It's going to be wow, 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 but stay in your place. I have a cute story to tell you. I probably told this to you already. There was a very, very special Jew who lived in Philadelphia. His name was Ephraim Eliezer Yolis. He wore a big shteimel. He was a Rebbe of some sort, of some sect. He was deeply connected to the Frierdiker Rebbe and deeply connected to our Rebbe. He was older than the Rebbe. He came to all the big Fabrengens. He was the only man besides Rabbi Chalakov that sat at the Rebbe's table. When the Rebbe Fabreng, nobody sat next to him. But if you look at the photo from the front to the Rebbe's right, his secretary sat about 10 feet away from the Rebbe. On the Rebbe's left, a few feet to his left, sat this Rabbi Yolis. He came to all the big Fabrengens. That means Vav Tishrei, Yud Kislev, Yud Shvat, Purim, Yud Aleph Nisan. He lived in Philadelphia and he was an elderly man, but whenever there was a big Fabrengen that he had noticed, he would come and he would sit next to the Rebbe. He was an intelligent man, he was a learned man, he was a big Talmid Chacham. But he was very Hasidish man, had a big heart. So the whole Fabrengen, he was moving closer to the Rebbe. He couldn't help himself. This is before my times. But people describe it. He was by the time the Fabrengen was finished, he was in the Rebbe's face. It was pushing, it was uncomfortable. And he was not doing it on purpose. He loved the Rebbe so much. He loved the whole experience that he would forget. He would just, so once at a Fabrengen, the Chaver chained his chair down to the leg of the table. So the whole Fabrengen here, clank, 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 clank. He doesn't even realize what's going on. He's not moving any place, The Rebbe was so upset. That made the entire committee who oversaw orders of something to travel to Philadelphia in person to apologize face to face and get a forgiveness in writing. And the Rebbe said, I want to see it. I wanted to see in his hand that he forgave you for this disrespect. The Rebbe was really, really upset. But I think after that, he managed to stay in this place because I don't remember him being in this. People say that the earlier years, he would move closer, mamish in the Rebbe's face, and he pushed it with love. It pushed it, leave God the Rebbe. He loved the Rebbe. So Hashem says to the Jews, there's going to be a revelation. Don't move your chair. Don't do a Rabbi Alice. I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of teaching. I can't talk to you. Stay in your place. I'm putting up a fence. Stay where you are. I'm going to come to you. You're going to experience Nevuah, but Nevuah is degrees. The place you are, the place you get too close, it's not going to work. Now, even where they stayed, it didn't work out so good. Had they come closer, it would probably have been worse. Let's read. Don't touch your mount. Let's read it again. Make a fence for the people, Saviv around the mountain, and tell them, I warn you, you're going to become prophets. You're going to be overwhelmed, but don't move your chair. You're going to be very, very excited. Warning you. Alais Bahar climbed the mountain when the Goya touched the edge of the mountain. Because Kol HaNegeh especially if you got a lot of baggage. Can't do it. You know, there's a woman I know, this I'm gonna say very briefly, there are no questions on what I'm about to say. There's a woman I know who told me that she was involved in what was called Jewish meditation. Jewish meditation was an idea that had birthed in the late 1970s. Because then in America, meditation was very, very popular, and it was transcendental meditation, DA. It just went off again, I don't know. TM, transcendental meditation.
I think it's
And the Rebbe felt that's a disorder, so the Rebbe wanted to create a healthy alternative to TM, Jewish meditation. But the Rebbe made rules. One of the rules was that we're going to do meditation for medical purposes, not for spiritual purposes. Meditation is not an alternative way of religious living. It's not a spiritual quest. It's simply for healing. So this lady told me that it was the whole idea was the Rebbe's, and the Rebbe got many, many Jews involved, all kinds of psychotherapists and mental health professionals of all different fields were recruited to work on Jewish meditation. By no means all Chabad. Chabad was actually poorly represented. There were a few Lubavitchers. I knew 3 people, and the third, I don't remember who it was, but 3 different people, a man that I remember, a woman that I know, and one other person, I can't remember who collaborated on this effort of Jewish meditation. And they didn't listen to the Rebbe. They created this movement of Jewish meditation, and they began to use it for spirituality. This lady said to me, I knew a man who believed that meditation was the key to prophecy. If you got meditation, you get prophecy. And it's true. If you look in the Rambam, which you're going to learn, the Rambam right here, meditation is a medium to prophecy. But the Rebbe didn't want that. The Rebbe didn't want that. And she said to me, this very, very prominent man started to do a lot of meditation, and he became very, very depressed. And it killed him. Those were her words. It killed him. He died as a young man. And it killed him. They didn't listen to the Rebbe. I'm not saying the name of the rabbi because he's a very, very, very special man, but I heard this from someone who knew him, who was involved. The Rebbe told her to get involved. She was not really a medical practitioner. She was just an alternative healer kind of thing. The Rebbe said, get involved. She worked with that group. It was called Jewish Meditation, the late 70s, early 80s. And she said the Rebbe made a rule that it's just for healing, to help people deal with their psychological problems, with their emotional pain, but it's not a religious model. You want to close this meditation. And not everybody agreed with the Rebbe. He did it. And she told his words. Before he died, he was deeply depressed, and it killed him. And I want to explain to you why, the way I understand it. Meditation is an exercise in clearing your mind. The reason to clear your mind is for your subconscious to come up. Now, do you want to know what's going on in your cellar? I don't. Do you want to know what's going on underneath? You want to be conscious. You want to use your brain all day long. Chas v'shalom, a thought you come from inside. A tzaddik's sewer is clean. That's why Nevi'im could do meditation. The subconscious is pure, therefore holy. Most people's subconscious. And if you're gonna do, what do they call that form of fishing? Where you
deep sea fishing?
No, where you put a net across the bottom, what's it called? Trolling. Schmutz is gonna come up that's been there for 500 years, leave it there. So the Rebbe said, don't use meditation as a spiritual, in other words, to try to bring up your subconscious, to do meditation and bring up your subconscious, to bring yourself spiritually close to your God. You gotta have a clean cellar. A clean underneath, most people don't. Leave it alone. We're not clean. If we stay on our surface level, we're lucky. Because there's a mess down there. And meditation is a dangerous thing. Prophecy is predicated on being clean in the cellar. Jews have 48 hours to clean up the basement, to clean up the sewer, their own sewer. 48 hours. Prophets spend a lifetime doing that, Yidden had 2 days. And it's represented by 2 words. Make them holy and wash their clothes. And wash their clothes means not just their clothes, but their bodies. The clothes for the neshama is the guf. Purify them. Make them holy. Ready them to meet Hashem. And to meet Hashem, they have to be clean, not just on the outside, but on the inside, all the way down to the deepest level to the subconscious, and then Hashem. And we read on. Vayered Moshe Minahor, he came down from the mountain, to the people. Vayakadesh, he made them holy. Vayachapsik, to bless him. He made them wash their shirts and their pants and their bodies and their whatevers, right? Vayemer Elam, he told them, Ayuna Chayim L'Shosh Yishamim. Be ready for the third day. L'Shosh Yisham doesn't mean for 3 days, it means for the third day, because they had 2 days to prepare according to the Rabban. Al Tikshu Elisha, no physical intimacy. You want to be married to God, you can't be married to your wife. You can't be married to your husband. In other words, physical pleasure makes you tameh, halachically. Physical pleasure brings you down. You want to be close to God, you have to be far away from body functions, body pleasures, not because they're an Aveda, but because their body, it must be very pure. Think about that, right? Moshe Rabbeinu, separated from Tzipora for the rest of his life. Hashem told him to do that. And Miriam says, excuse me, I got a husband. I'm a prophet. I got a husband. So then Hashem showed Miriam what the consequence was. Moshe had to always be ready for Hashem. When Miriam became a prophetess, usually David gave her a warning. She went to the mikveh, she had some time to prepare. And on that occasion, when Hashem shows up and she's unprepared, Rashi says, Miriam is screaming, I need water, I need water. She was unprepared. So Hashem says to the Yid in preparation, you have to stay away from God, you have to be pashat pure. Anything bodily, anything physical, anything worldly, you have to raise yourself above it. Not because these are bad, but because prophecy is another level. And that's what you want. That's what you're asking for. You want to be face to face, you have 48 hours to make yourself holy enough to experience Nevuah. Now, the bold type. Parenthesis, continued Thursday from Pashas Mishpatim, bracket in bold, end the bracket and the parenthesis. Yeah, I know how to read, huh? Okay, Kindalach. The story of Matan Torah is in 3 Pashas. It's in Yisrael, it's in Mishpatim, and it's in Vayischanan. And in this stack, I ordered it by chronology, by time. The Torah doesn't go in the right order of time. Part of the story is in Yisrael, part of the story is in Mishpatim. If you have this whole stack, you'll see that I keep moving back and forth. So what we're reading now is in a different place in the Chumash, but it happened that day. This is all Thursday. Thursday, the 4th of Sivan. Now, what is the label? What is the trademark of that date? Thursday, the 4th of Sivan. The answer is Perishus. Remember? The third day is Hagbolah, make fences either on the outside. The Thursday, which is the 4th day, is Perishus. They're fences, but Yidden are on the inside. So in Pashat Mishpatim it says, and I read, on that 4th day, when Moshe went up to the top of the mountain, and he told the Yidden Hashem that all Jews want to be prophets, and the Eibush tried to tell Moshe Rabbeinu it was a bad idea. That's part of my drama, by the way, that doesn't say in Chumash. And Moshe said, what do you care? They want to be prophets. Let them try it. And Hashem says, it's not going to work out. Moshe says, who cares? Let them try. You want to be Nevi'im? You're going to stop them? So Hashem says to Moshe that day, Alei Hashem, you should come up. Ata, you, Aaron and your brother Aaron, Nadav and Avihu, of Aaron's 2 sons called Nadav and Avihu, who were considered at a much higher level. They actually died from prophecy in Pasha Shmini, right? They experienced God and the Neshama left the goof. V'shivim iziknei is on the 70 elders. What this pasuk is saying is this. Moshe knew, hey, look at Moshe. All Yidden are going to become prophets. All Yidden are going to become prophets. But you made fences anyway, right? The regular Yid has to stand outside this fence. The 70 elders are outside this fence. Nadav and Avihu are going to stand outside this fence. Aaron is going to stand outside this fence. You'll come up to the top of the mountain. So Yidden are being divided up into classes of Nevuah. All Yidden are going to experience Hashem face to face. Pardon me for using that expression. They're going to experience divine intimacy, Nevuah, prophecy. But there's degrees. And that's what Hashem says to Moshe. Now that we're agreeing that all Yidden have become Nevi'im, even in Nevuah there's levels. And here's how you're going to break it up. All the Yidden are outside the outermost parameter, outermost fence. The Shivim's Kedim are one step closer, none of the Nevi'im are even closer, and even closer, you're even closer. Okay? And you'll prostrate, you'll bow from a distance. And then you, Moshe Rabbeinu, and again, here you have the opposite. Hashem is talking to Moshe first person, second person, and all of a sudden it changes to third person. And Moshe will approach. Hashem is saying to Moshe, not you will approach, Moshe will approach as third person to the Eibush, and the rest are not allowed to come near. But the people shouldn't even begin to climb. So you see, we're dividing up Yidden into a variety of classes in Nevuah itself. That Moshe is going to come all the way to the top of the mountain. The Yidden are going to be outside the outermost fence, but not outside the fence that they're not going to experience Nevuah, like the Eibush told them the day before. Outside the fence, but they're going to experience Nevuah. And between the Yidden and Moshe is going to be another number of fences. Depending on your level, that's how close you came in your experience of Nevuah. And it was all arranged physically, spatially. In other words, even though Nevuah is such a spiritual thing, you were told, stand here, stand here, get closer, don't get so close. In other words, the physical proximity to the top of the mountain determined the degree of Nevuah that you would experience the following day, or the day after, the Shabbos, 2 days later. And Hashem is explaining to Moshe that that's how we're going to set this up. So there's going to be Nevuah for all the Yidden. There's going to be different degrees. You're going to be all the way at the top. The others are going to approach a little bit and bow from what the pasuk calls from far away. And the rest of the Yidden, they shouldn't think about climbing the mountain. Read on. Moshe Rabbeinu came. Called Divrei Hashem, and he told the Jewish what Hashem said, all the rules, namely that they will become Nevi'im, but there is going to be a fence, and so on and so forth. And of course, the most important thing he told them was you got 48 hours to clean up your act. Now imagine a person who's not frum, becomes frum in 48 hours. It's very, very hard to do. It's impossible to do. Yeah, but imagine a person who's not frum, and in 48 hours needs to become a tzaddik. Not just change his behavior or her behavior, change his mind, change his heart, change his subconscious. Oh my gosh, it's impossible. But that's what the Yidden signed on for. That's what Prishus means. And that's why the end played out as it did, that the Yidden couldn't handle it. They died. Let's read the end of the pasuk. Moshe Rabbeinu came, he told the people, as called Divrei Hashem of Hashem's words, and all the rules of the Nevuah that they were going to experience on the day of Shabbos, when Hashem would come down on the mountain, like the the nation entered in one voice, Hashem, all these words Nasa we're going to do. And the Pashtus, these words, Kol HaDvar, doesn't go on Torah. It goes on Precious. They said Nasa 2 days before. They're going to say Nasa v'nishma the next day. No, they said Nasa on Tuesday. They're going to say Nasa v'nishma on Friday. This is Thursday. This Nasa is not Nasa, we will do the Torah. Nasa means we'll keep the rules. We're not going to move our chair close. They're not going to chain me down. We're going to stay in our place. Okay? And he wrote down the Eibishter's words. He wrote down the Eibishter's words. Now, what this means, I actually looked up in Rashi. Give me a chumash. Sorry, I prepared, but I forgot. Shmois. I'm sorry. Moshe is called Divrei Hashem. Moshe wrote all Hashem's words. I'm reading Rashi. Moshe Rabbeinu wrote the Chumash from Genesis until that point on Thursday, the 4th of Sivan. Moshe wrote the Chumash from Bereshis. He described the creation and the birth of Cain and Hevel, the original sin of the children of good and evil, how Cain kills Hevel, the flood and the day of flood and Avraham Avinu and Yitzchak Avinu and Yaakov Avinu and the Shvatim and coming to Mitzrayim and the Tzaras and going out of Mitzrayim and the Makkahs, he were rolled out till the point that they were at the Kosav mitzvahs shenitzavu b'mara, and then he wrote all the mitzvahs given in Mara. Hashem gave us 613 mitzvahs, right? Amongst the 613 mitzvahs, okay, I made a mistake. In the previous pasuk, Rashi says, Kol HaMishpatim doesn't mean the rules of preparation. It means Zayin mitzvahs shenistavu b'nei Noach. On the pasuk before, if you're looking inside, Pasuk Gimel, Be'ez Kol HaMishpatim, says Rashi, the 7 mitzvahs of Noach, Shabbos, Kibbutz Avim, Paraduma, and the laws of courts. Those were mitzvahs that Yidden got after they left Mitzrayim. So in the previous pasuk, which is pasuk Gimel, where it says Kol HaMishpatim, all the laws, it doesn't mean what I said, the laws of not going close. It means the 7 mitzvahs of Noach, Shabbos, Kibbutz Avim, Paraduma, and Dinim. The instructions that they got are the words Kol Divrei Hashem Be'ez Kol HaMishpatim. Kol Divrei Hashem means the rules of not coming close, and Kol HaMishpatim means Sheva mitzvahs Nereach, and the few mitzvahs that Hashem gave them ahead of time, Shabbos, Kibbutz Avim, Paradum, and Dinim. And in this pasuk, he wrote the book of the Chumash from the beginning until this point, and the mitzvah given in Gemara, which of course conforms in the Gemara. I don't know if you know about this, but there's a Gemara, but that you don't know the Gemara, I don't hold it against you, but the Chassidus brings this Gemara. The Gemara brings an argument whether the Torah was written in pieces or in one chunk. Megillas, Nitma, or Chasuma Nitma. Was the Torah given in pieces, and Moshe wrote down one piece and then another piece, or then it was all written as one complete idea? The Machlokes in the Gemara. Chassidus says that philosophically they're both true. Meaning there's a level where you say Megillas Nichtava was written piecemeal, and it's also a level with Chasuma Nitna. This Rashi goes according to the opinion that Megillas, Moshe, Hashem gave him a mitzvah, he wrote it down. Another mitzvah, he wrote it down. So they're about to get the Torah. Whatever of history, whatever of the Torah was already available, he wrote down. So Rashi is going to go in the Deya, and the opinion that Megillas, Nichtava, that the Torah was given or written in piecemeal, as opposed to Chasuma, one complete book, and then we get to other opinions and so forth and so on. Anyway, this all happened on Thursday, which is the Apricius, right? Now, if you look below the next line, Vayashkem Aberikej is part of the same pasuk, but getting up in the morning, that's tomorrow, it's Friday. And we're not doing Friday now. Friday we're doing after Baruch Sha'amah, which is going to be a while, if you know how we operate around here. So what are we going to do now? I just spent an hour and a half of your time, I don't know how much time, a long time, well over an hour, dramatizing the story of Matan Torah and leading us to Thursday, the 4th of Sivan. All Yidden want to be prophets, and Hashem agrees, and he gives them specific instructions of Perishus. So what are we going to do now? So I have a sheet. Give them out. I'd like you to come back next week. If you don't come back next week, you don't today. But this is what we're going to be learning, at least in the foreseeable future. I'm going to start now. I got a few more minutes. I have till 20 after, right? We're going to be starting with a piece of Tanya, and then we're going to learn a Rambam, and then I'm going to decide what I'm going to do. I got up early this morning, not as early as I normally do, but I got up early this morning, and I really did a lot of thinking. There are no sichas on Perishus. I couldn't find sichas on Perishus. There's no sichas. Look at the sichas. How you get prepared to become a novi? There's no such sichas. Why? Because none of our business. So I had to figure out how I'm going to present it. So obviously we did the Chumash. We're going to learn a piece of Tanya. We're going to learn a Rambam, and then I'm going to decide. There is a possibility, and it's more than a possibility. I'm like where I'm going to learn several sichas, but never talks about nevuah. In the beginning of the year, we learned the sichas not about nevuah, about edus for nevuah. That nevuah proof that was true. This is different. On Wednesday, the 3rd of Sivan, the Yidden were told about being a witness, so we did that. On Thursday, the 4th of Sivan, Yidden became Nevi'im themselves. So the sichas in the sichas we never discussed the process of becoming a navi. I'm contemplating doing that. I'm not 100% sure. I want to think about it. Okay, but this is what we're going to do now for sure. We're going to do the Tanya and then the Rambam, which will take us a while. And between now and when we finish that, I'll make my decision about how much I'm going to delve into Nevuah. But I just want to tell you a story. I said to you, the Rebbe does not have sichas in the Kuta sichas about Perishus, because most people not only become Nevi'im. So you asked for another Yitzvat story, the Yitzvat story. I heard the story firsthand. I was in Montreal. I was in a camp of girls, and a very prominent rabbi came to camp for his grandson's upshedding. And he was the only other man in camp, a camp full of girls, and this very prominent rabbi, Hendel, Yitzchak of Montreal, all of us Shalom. And I was a young guy. I was the camp rabbi. So they asked me to entertain him, to spend the day with him. Now, I'm a big chazan, don't you know me? I'm very, very jealous. I don't give my time away easy. I try to keep myself busy. But okay, I spent the day with him. And I have no regrets because he sat with me a whole day and talked. He did talking and I did listening. He told me many stories. And some of them I remember. To me, this is very important, the stories. So one of the stories he told me was like this. He learned in the yeshiva in Otwock in Poland. Rabbi Yitzchak Hendel learned in the yeshiva in Otwock in Poland. He was a genius. He was a brilliant mind. He was 15 years old. And he wanted to go to the higher class. And they thought he was out of his mind. He says, they let him go. And I sat like this. This is his motive. The whole shit, I didn't move, the Rosh Hashiva was a god, the beautiful Ebed, and this little whippersnapper sitting in front of him like this here, looking at him. And it looked like he knew what was going on. So when the shir was over, the beautiful Ebed walked up to this little boy and says, you heard the shir? He says, yeah. You understood the shir? He says, yeah. Can you give it back? He says, yeah. I repeated the whole shir. It was mind-blowing. He understood it, and he remembered it, and he gave it back. And he heard Rabbi Yudel Eber walking away, muttering to himself. He was very impressed. He thought he didn't understand the word. He was a Russian Jew, Rabbi Yudel Eber. All these Polish heads. He was a little boy, was like a sponge. He got it, he understood it, and he gave it back. So he told me this mice. It happened to him. He told me this mice that he sat in the yeshiva like this. They had a whole revolt at the yeshiva. They wanted to go to the higher class. It was Rachmanis and the lower teacher, who I'm going to tell you a story about in a moment. But there was a whole politics, even then, in the 1930s, in the Holy Poland and Otwock, and they let the boys go to the higher yeshiva. So he described that. He was sitting like this here, and the Rebbe said, anyway, so what's the story? There are two classes, a higher class and a lower class. The higher class was the Rosh Hashiva, Rabbi Leber. He was a real god. The lower class was a Yid by the name of Reb David Ricker. Ricker. Rabbi Ricker was not a Lubavitcher Chassid. He was a Chassid of Kotsk. You may have heard of Kotsk. He was a big Lamp, he was a big Talmid Chacham. He was a very Hasidic Yid. He was very frum. Rabbi Hendel wanted to describe to me, Rabbi Fuchs told me this, how frum he was. He says, on Pesach, the yeshiva closed the kitchen. The yeshiva closed the kitchen on Pesach, and the yeshiva paid Rabbi Ricker to feed the bachrim. That's how big. In other words, they trusted his kashas. He was a very, very elachid. He was a very, very righteous man, Rabbi David Ricker. But he was not a Lubavitcher. He was a big Talmid Chacham. He was a Chassidish Yid, so they hired him to teach. Anyway, the Kotzker Rebbe died, passed away in 1937, 38, something like that. Childless. It was right before the war, but of course no one was planning on a Holocaust. You know what I'm saying? They weren't thinking about it. And the Kotzker Hasidim came to this Reb David Ricker and asked him to become the Kotzker Rebbe. But he wasn't Gej, as they say in Lubavitch. He wasn't a member of the family. He wasn't a Morgenstern. He wasn't related to the Kotzker. But there was a vacancy. There was no Rebbe, and there were Hasidim, and they asked him to take the position. So he went into the Frierdiker Rebbe. And he asked the Frierdiker Rebbe about this question. The Chassidim are asking him to take over the leadership of Kotsk. He obviously felt the responsibility, but on the other hand, who am I? So he asked the Frierdiker Rebbe what to do. So the Frierdiker Rebbe told him these words in Yiddish. As Chassidim beten is a simen as his do Ebbes. Aber das Arois zu rufen, darf man sich überkehren die Kirschkisse bei. Which means in English, if Chassidim ask, that itself is the proof that there's something to discuss. If Chassidim ask, that itself is the proof that there's something to discuss. But to bring it out, inside out. You have to get Kishkish inside out. And then the previous Rebbe told him a whole thing, but a whole seder, a whole bunch of stuff. Do this, and then become a Rebbe. He walked out of the Rebbe, and there was a chassid, a Kotzker chassid who was a rich man. He was the only rich chassid of all Chassidus Kotzk. He paid the bills, all the expenses he paid. And he was very, very in favor of this Reb David Ricker becoming the Kotzker Rebbe. He said, "Nee, was the Rebbe gesucht? What did the Rebbe say?" So he told him. The Rebbe said, "Chassidim are asking you something to discuss, but in order to call it out, he has to turn his kishkis inside out." And then he repeated to this man the instructions. The Frierdiker Rebbe told him what he should do, and then he should become a Rebbe. They walked out of the building, whatever. I don't know if this happened inside the house, but this happened. Within 5 minutes, that man forgot all the instructions. He remembered the first part. Then are asking that to prove that there's something to discuss. But in order to call out these kishkis, I've turned that out. But the instructions he forgot. Rabbi Fuchs told me this. Rabbi Fuchs also learned by him in Atvatsky. He says, information you didn't need, you didn't have. The Mamsh Pelle, the Friedrich told it to this man repeated it to somebody else, that somebody else didn't need it. So boom. There's stuff that we don't have to know, so we don't know it. Fartik. So when the Friedrich passed away, and the Rebbe didn't want to be a Rebbe, Rabbi Handel told me, I went myself into the Rebbe, and I told the Rebbe that I have proof that the Rebbe is supposed to be the next Rebbe. How do you know? I mean, he had this Polish Yiddish. So I told him over this story, but he only told the first half. That if Chassidim are asking, it's a proof that there's somebody talking about the part about the kishkis turning out. He forgot to mention. So he tells this to the Rebbe, takes a look at him, and says in Yiddish, perhaps my father-in-law said something else also. We think I'm an idiot? You think I'm an idiot? That's a huge shvat story. So you didn't have to get ready for Matan Torah and have to prepare. How do you prepare? 40 an hour till your kishkis inside out. You understand? So now, it's 22. Can I have 3 minutes of your time? Yeah, can I keep you late? There's a big Aveda. They're going to come knocking on the door soon, the people. The Pasi. Take out the Tanya. I want to read the Tanya to you. Okay, this is the beginning of chapter 34. It's one of the most underlearned prakim of Tanya. I just want to read you the beginning of the Pedic, because you'll see my point. You'll see here what I've been saying, that what Moshe Rabbeinu and the Yidden were negotiating for was to become prophets. V'hinei, muda zeis we know. Sha'aves hein hein makava. That the Aves, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were a chariot to Hashem. Shakol Yemeim, all of their days, la'olam, always, la'yefsiko, they didn't interrupt. Afilu achas, even for 1 hour, milakasher daitam v'nishmasam l'ribein ha'olam, to tie their mind and their soul to the Master of the world. But bittul anal, with the aforementioned bittul, liyichude yisbarach, to be one with Hashem. The Avis were holy people, right? And last time we checked, the Avis were prophets. They did this Merkava and Bittul, and the Eibishter rested on them on a level called Nevu. V'achareyem, and after them, Kol Neviim, all the prophets. Same story. You don't become a prophet. Hashem doesn't tap you on the shoulder and say, Moshe, I got a message. You give your guts. You turn your kishkis inside out. Unilaterally. You live a life, the Hebrew word that's apropos is precious. Precious is not frumkeit. Frumkeit means following the law. That makes fences. Precious means that after you make the fences, you climb inside that fence and you become holy. You don't enjoy anything in the physical world. Your life is only in ideas, as we're going to see in the Rambam, which is the backside of the page of this Tanya. I'm going to read it with you inside. Okay, call Anavim, all of the prophets, call Echad Lefi Madregas Nishmasei Vasagase, each one based on the level of his neshama and his understanding, meaning the process by which one becomes a prophet has to do with what kind of neshama you have and how hard you work. But they worked. They turned their kishkis inside out. And it continues. Umadregas Moshe Rabbeinu hi ha'el al kulana. The biggest parosh, the person who achieved the maximum holiness, the person who turned his kishkis inside out the most Merkava, the most bittul was Moshe Rabbeinu. He was the highest prophet. Why? He gave the most of himself. Sha'amru Allah, the Gemara says, Moshe Rabbeinu, Shechina medaberes miteiach d'redius shel Moshe. The Shechina spoke through the throat of Moshe Rabbeinu because Moshe Rabbeinu's kishkis were turned harder than anybody else's. And he was zeicha to a higher madrega more than anybody else's. Now continue to read. Ume'ein ze zochu Yisrael b'maymed HaSinai. Something like this, of this type, means this color, the Jewish people experienced in Sinai, meaning they bargained for nevuah. That's what precious means. They said, don't talk to Moshe and we'll watch. Talk to us, direct. Me'ein zeh zochu Yisro b'mayim dasina. That's what Yidden asked for, and that's what Yidden got. Har Sinai. They're given 48 hours to make themselves holy enough to meet Hashem in a way that's called intimate. Rak, rak. 2 letters, man. 2 letters. Rak, rak. But, however, yeah. Shalayachlu Lisbel. They couldn't take it. The Gemara says, "Shall call Dibur each time Hashem spoke, Parcha Nishmasam, the Neshama flew away." Why? Because number one, they were not qualified, and number two, they had very little time to prepare. 2 days. This is where we're holding in the story. Just how you see how the Alter Rebbe puts together the Ovis, all Nevi'im, Moshe Rabbeinu, and this story, because it's the same thing. The negotiation where Hashem says to Moshe, put up fences. And the Yidden say, no, we want to meet Hashem personally. And Hashem says, fine, let them make themselves Perushim. Have seen that we were for a moment all prophets.
From before about not using meditation for spiritual purposes.
Yeah.
In Tanya, it says all the time, like meditate about this, meditate.
That's how it's translated in English, meditate? It doesn't mean meditate. It means contemplate. His bonanut and his boidedus are not the same thing.
Yeah.
Meditation